why are you guys just so obsessed over Israel? You guys are obsessed over Jews.
Yep. You're anti-Semitic. I mean, that's just one step away from it.
If you're American and you're not focused on Israel, everything else you're doing in politics is a waste of time. How the fuck is Cenk Uygur going to create Justice Democrats when they had no plan to defeat AIPAC? And then they run candidates, they lose 99% of their elections, and then they act surprised. And then when they do win, they get a Cory Bush. Them motherfuckers get replaced immediately. You know why? Because they don't have a plan for AIPAC. So every American should be as obsessed about fighting Zionism and fighting Israel as I am.
Hate his politics, hate his opinions. He is the greatest interviewer of our lifetime. And if you go to Tucker's page and actually read down the timestamps, you can see the sort of, now, I don't like to use the word narrative, but the story, like he's getting Ted Cruz to tell on himself. It's amazing. Amazing. It was such a masterclass in just mind games. It was crazy. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is a gem, guys. This is gold. You know how bad this beatdown was?
It was bad.
Let me pull the screenshot. They actually covered it. I'm not gonna show you guys the CNN segment. The way they covered it was funny. You guys know I'm a nerd. I like to see it. But you know it's bad when it's covered on CNN.
Yep.
Bro, Ted Cruz got a beatdown of a lifetime. And it's a shame because Tucker is just engaging in journalism.
Yeah.
Like, what Tucker did to Ted Cruz is the same thing I did to Ro Khanna. You guys remember the Ro Khanna interview where I had that motherfucker stuttering?
Yeah, that was this.
That was this. Like, so you guys know I'm a fucking Tucker Carlson hater. And have you ever been a hater and then someone you hate on says something funny and you're just sitting there like, fuck, God damn it. That's how I feel when I watch this interview. I can't stand Tucker, but the whole time I had a smile on my face like, God damn it, this motherfucker killed it.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
Halfway through it, and guys, I promise you, there were 2 parts I replayed 3 times because I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard. He just clowns him throughout this interview. He
fucking bodied him so bad. This man murdered Ted Cruz 2028. It's done. It's not, bro, there's no legitimacy. And now Zionists are spamming their troll farm accounts. They are doing damage control. We're going to get to that very soon. Dude, the damage control after this interview alone, I was just bathing in that over the last few hours. Sarah, seeing like the response, bro. They said the guy from Princeton, the best among them, Ted Cruz. He's the genius. They all, even Democrats, like you got to admit that Ted Cruz, he's their guy, the debate me, bro. That's here to defend Zionism from the dumbass Tucker Carlson.
In the space, they were not. They're like, I'm not really a Ted Cruz fan, but I'm Republican, and I have to say that. He admitted that Ted Cruz got his ass handed to him, but he was like, Ted Cruz is very good at debating. I was like, according to who? Like, and then I guess like there's this whole mythos about him being a good debate, bro.
Yeah, that's their lore. That's establishment lore. Like, even among the mainstream, you see it all the time. Like, Ted Cruz, he's a famed debater. He was a Princeton fucking golden child. He was a prodigy in politics. He was a prodigy in law. It is bullshit. It is another example of why I take doctors away. You guys know I took doctor's degrees. I have zero respect for elite academia. Anyway, I'm hyping this clip a lot. Let's play the clip, and I will dive more into that thought process more. Let's watch the clip. This is the clip that's going around everywhere. This is the first one. Tucker Carlson, he got great advertisement. This is the first clip he released, but every clip has been a banger. But this is the one that's been spreading like wildfire, so we start here.
How many people live in Iran, by the way? I don't know the population at all. No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple? How many people live in Iran? 92 million. Okay.
You guys know this.
Now, this next part, when you play it, I want to take a pause after he asks. Go ahead, can you play this next question really quickly? He asks him one more question about this.
Yeah, well, I'll make sure I play it. One thing I want to bring up, you guys know the argument I've kept making? How many times have I brought up the population difference between Israel and Iran? I have done how many segments? I made how many tweets about the fact that Iran has 90 million people versus Israel's 9 million? I explained to you guys that it's literally impossible Physically impossible for Israel to ever fight Iran and defeat them without the United States. You guys know how I know that? Because I know basic facts about Iran. I knew the fact they have a massive country. It's an extremely mountainous area that's extremely hard for even giant conquering nations to possibly take over. It's a very hard state to take over. There's a reason why the Persian Empire lasted for such a long time. There's a reason why the Persians are so resilient. So if you don't know anything about that, that's why they're selling the idea to dummies that Israel can beat Iran without United States help. Because the only way you can believe that if you don't know basic shit like how many people live in Iran. You know how you're able to be convinced by your AIPAC handler? You know how you're able to be convinced by your AIPAC babysitter that Israel can defeat Iran in a war by themselves? When you're a dumbass and don't know how many people live in Iran.
That's a great
So it is kind of unreasonable to expect that every leader knows trivia of every single country. That's kind of unreasonable. But you goddamn well better know the population. You better know the state bird. You better know the design of the flag.
Well, I know it because I love that flag. But
you
yeah,
better know the favorite poem, the poem of the state. You better be able to read the Constitution backwards. If you're advocating for the destruction of a state, nigga, you better be a history expert.
They don't think it's a big deal. Like, we do this all the time.
Exactly. Anything else you want to add? I'll play it from the beginning again because I know you want to. Actually, I'll play it from the beginning again because I know you want to chime in at one point. I'll play it from the beginning for the full.
How many people live in Iran, by the way? I don't know the population at all. No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah.
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
That part.
They are Persians.
That part.
Okay, predominantly Shia. Okay,
it's not even... People have to realize what I hope. This is the problem with Americans. MAGA goes... Why does he got to know that? That's stupid. Tucker was just trying to make him look dumb. And I'm like, no, you're too historically retarded that you don't realize what he's trying to show him is at this point, he had already agreed that Iraq was a disaster. Ted Cruz was against Iraq, by the way. Tucker was for the war in Iraq. Ted Cruz was against it. Ted Cruz still married to the idea and the understanding that Iraq was a disaster. What he's doing here is showing that's what happened in Iraq. That's why Iraq turned into a disaster, because you toppled the government without knowing a goddamn thing, excuse my language, about the state, about its people, and about the population. That's why he's doing it. But Americans didn't get it. They're like, he's being an elitist. He's being mean to Ted Cruz. Not to mention Ted Cruz went to Princeton. So this shouldn't really be out of the realm of things that he knows.
Bro, the quote about this is hilarious. And I'm going to show you guys how people are making excuses like Mark Levin for him right now. But that exchange is absolute gold because Tucker grills him about the population, which I explain why that's relevant. I explain why knowing the population you want to wage war against is probably one of the most important things to know. You know what I mean? So then he gets the population question wrong. Okay. Not everyone can bat 1,000, right? Okay. So Tucker gonna ask him something basic. So so Ted Cruz like, oh, I don't know the population. I don't know that part, but I know about Iran. So tell Carlson, like, who are the people who make up Iran? Sure, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Imagine someone like, hey, who makes up the population of Mexico? And you're like, I don't know. You know how fucking dumb you would be? You know how fucking clueless you have to be about a society to answer that way? I'll play that part again because that's very underrated. Do not even know the ethnic makeup?
About the country.
I didn't say I don't know anything about.
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
I didn't say I didn't know anything about the country. Who's in the country? I don't know.
They're Persian.
I didn't say I didn't know anything about the country. Who's in the country? I don't know. The fuck you talking? What are you talking about?
Who lives there? I have no clue.
Guys, this is the best they have. This is their intellectual giant. There's only 2 senators in the state. Texas is a large state. Out of the entirety of Texas, this guy is top 2, apparently.
Yeah.
Let's continue. Like, this is, I can analyze every second.
Like, I don't know that. And I'm like, you're not a Princeton graduated, law educated politician, senator from Texas. What are we talking about? That's supposed to be like you. They're supposed to be better than us.
All right, I'm gonna let a lot more of it play this time. Yeah, it's gonna be very hard though. It's very hard.
Whether it's, because it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million, why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country,
I didn't say I don't know anything about.
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay,
it's not even. You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who claims
anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the one who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
They're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that,
we're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here, because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay. You guys see how it's completely incoherent to hold the belief that Israel is working separate from the United States, and whenever you try, you are twisted into a pretzel. Sarah, any response to this clip? I'll go to the next one.
You're breaking news. This is really big. You're a senator. You have to watch the whole thing, because Ted Cruz talks about Iranian hitmen trying to murder Trump. He talks about the guys in Butler, PA being Iranian. It's bonkers.
Yeah. Bro, this man absolutely cooked them. Let me show you guys this one first. I'm gonna show you guys the code on there just a little bit before I get to the next clip, because everyone was trying to say, "Oh my God, he's trying to use gotcha questions." He didn't have any points. This is one of them. This is the I'm glad it is a tweet. This is the Zionist lady who was brown, and now she's like a white lady now, I guess.
Oh wow! Look. Is that Janine Pirro?
They all got the same face.
Bridget, yeah.
They all got the same face.
Yeah, they're all the same.
Here's a tweet. I don't know where. Here it is. If 90 seconds,
Gabriel, yeah. She's Lebanese. She changed her name.
She changed her name. That's crazy. That's crazy. She said, if 90 seconds of gotcha trivia questions about Iran geography and demographics is the best Tucker Carlson has for this interview, it must have not gone very well for him against Senator Ted Cruz. Oh, you guys see how this was their coach? Ted Cruz was the great white hope for these people. They was. Is it delusion, or maybe I don't know. Did they really expect that Ted Cruz was going to go there and destroy them?
The rest of them are retarded, so they see he's like their smartest retard. You know what I mean? Then they're like, "Oh, all hail Ted Trump or Ted Cruz," because Ted Trump, same thing. They're all hail Ted Cruz because I'm not as smart as him, also retarded. You know, it's like what is this? What's the population of the Death Star? Are we going to war with the Death Star? See how these people, they don't even live in reality.
This is the best they have. You guys see how Mark Levin, he was watching that interview like a hawk. Everyone was, bro. Why do you guys think Trump went on a tirade against Tucker Carlson? Where he was calling Tucker Carlson kooky. I got that receipt somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, actually, let me show you guys. I don't know why the fuck did I save that?
We should touch on that as well. Tulsi Gabbard should resign.
Where the fuck is it? Damn, but here, I'm gonna find the receipt, but I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. The tweet where Trump laughed out Tucker. Let me try to see if I can find it. He called Tucker kooky. Maybe he lashed out Tucker because he knew this interview was coming out. I don't know when the interview was recorded, because Tucker pre-records an interview. This wasn't live.
I think it was done on Sunday, actually. Sunday or Monday.
I don't know how the timing works out, but you guys see how my point is, because I can't prove that yet. They knew that they had to go send someone at Tucker. Trump was tweeting about him. They had to send a heavy hitter. Ted Cruz was the best they can possibly find, and they was watching. Now they all tweeting these cope memes.
Instead, Maga will just make AI memes about it and cope. Go I can't stand these people. I can't with these people anymore. They don't take anything seriously. This guy's another nutcase. Absolute nutcase.
Yeah, if I had more time, I could dive more into the Mark Levin.
People that haven't even like they don't even have like they're like an officer level 4, rank 4 in the military, leading us into World War III. It's real estate agents and a dude that served in the National Guard. I have not felt like I was in more unqualified hands than now. And Tulsi Gabbard is the only one speaking sense in there. We are in trouble.
We're cooked, bro. We're cooked. But hey, don't worry. The people who got us into this, the people who did propaganda that got us in this situation, don't worry, guys. They say they're sorry. Don't worry. That's all good. Here's Mark Levin. If I had more time, I would dive into this beef that I've been witnessing between Mark Levin and Tucker Carlson, where Tucker is cooking this boy. Cause this man Mark Levin is taking so many L's, just like the way that Laura Loomer is being ratioed to death by Nick Fuentes and Jackson Hinkle. That's Mark Levin at Tucker Carlson. He's watching this interview with like a hawk because he's been having shows. He's one of the few people I like, man, I'm gonna watch his meltdown because he's been absolutely having a hard time with MAGA pushing back against this war. Because remember, neocons, it used to be easy to sell these wars. For the first time, they are now facing pushback on the right, not among the crazy communist fucking jihad scum that they used to attack. And you can see they're rattled in a different way. Maybe I'm overanalyzing it, but they're rattled unlike anything they've seen before because they see their own betraying them. Maybe almost you guys see it too, because I see another level of unhinged. You can even see it in his body language with the video being unmuted.
Yeah. So where are they? They're nowhere. How about China? Nowhere. How about Russia? Nowhere. What happened to World War III? There is no World War III. They all sound like a bunch of Marxist Islamists. They don't sound like patriotic Americans. Let me be clear. This is good versus evil. You're either a patriotic American who's going to get behind the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, or you're not. One other thing.
He called Tucker Carlson. He said, you see how you reference patriots. He said, you guys think you're patriots? You are Marxist Islamists. Bro. Like, think about it. If you're a Tucker Carlson, that's like him calling you the N-word, bro. If you're like among these white conservatives, a white dude calling another white conservative a Marxist Islamist, that's like the worst insult that he could possibly come up with. And you guys see how emotional he is? Bro, it's personal. You know, they're seeing the empire crumble. They're seeing Zionism.
Yeah, that's why they act like this. We keep explaining this. Yeah, every time you're like, they can't get any crazier. This is them losing power.
Yep. Man, God damn it. Our shows always go by so fast there. We almost already an hour in. Yeah. Now let's play this clip. Damn, I might have to trim a little bit of the segment. But here's a clip I 100% have to show you guys. Because as Sarah said, I recommend watching this whole thing. I saw a little bit of your coverage of your space of it. But this is another moment we can tell that Ted Cruz immediately regretted coming on Tucker's show because he asked him, and I don't know why, I don't know what he thought Tucker was going to say, but he's like, what foreign policy mistake have I made? What dirt do you have on me? I'm like, bro, you just teed this man up. Anyway, let's play. This is glory.
And I see an unending string of foreign policy disasters that have impoverished and hurt our country.
Unending string.
Unending string. They would include Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria, and our inability to stop the Houthis, by the way, in Yemen, which exposes us as weak, and I grieve over that. So these are failures. You helped preside over some of them as a member of the Senate.
What failures, foreign policy failures, have I presided over?
Sir? He's supposed to be a good debater. You gotta know rule number one of debating is not teeing up your opponent to attack your weak point. You protect your weak point. This motherfucker literally gave him he gave up his back. Like they was grappling, they were doing jiu-jitsu, he just gave his back up with no resistance. Why would you tee Tucker up like that? Like that's not the easiest question to possibly answer.
Foreign policy failures have I presided over?
Well, we were unable to beat Russia in the war that you supported against Russia. You've been spending the last 3 years telling us that Vladimir Putin is evil and we're going to beat him with other people's children, and 1 million of those kids are now dead. You've never apologized for that. That was a full failure.
By the way, look, the level of number of falsehoods you lay out just in one statement are rather.
You haven't supported the war against Russia?
Are rather stunning. So the war against Russia was caused, which I have explained at great detail, by Joe Biden's weakness.
But you supported the war.
If you want to talk, we can talk Russia and Ukraine. I'm happy to talk about it.
They really think that it goes from like one country to a different country every time we switch presidents. They're like, it happened. Like, it's like so compartmentalized. It's like, we've been working on Ukraine since the 40s. Like, what are we talking about? It's so bizarre. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's a great point. Motherfucker, you're a senator. You don't have term limits like president.
Like October 7th. Everything started on October 7th. It did not all start in February of 2022, Ted.
Yep. That's a great point, Sarah. I'll let it continue.
And I'm happy to talk about it.
Do you think that's been a success?
No, it's been an absolute disaster.
Okay, but you supported it. Shouldn't you apologize?
No, you should apologize.
What the fuck is wrong with this dude? So he's like, hey, Tucker, give me one example of anything I did that was a foreign policy disaster. The Ukraine war. Yeah, you're right. That was a disaster. Do you forget the original argument that you was making, sir? Anyway, sorry. He literally conceded the original point that the foreign policy decision you made was a disaster. Are you serious? This is what passes as the best mind in America? Unbelievable.
By Joe Biden's weakness.
But you supported the war.
If you want to talk, we can talk Russia and Ukraine. I'm happy to talk about it.
Do you think that's been a success?
No, it's been an absolute disaster.
Okay, but you supported it. Shouldn't you apologize?
No, you should apologize. I'm not going to engage in the demanding of apologies. So I'm like,
that's my point. Is all these failures and no one ever says I'm sorry.
Matter, or do you just throw out like you? If you want to talk, we can talk.
Okay, I do. I want to know why that seems like a true disaster for the United States.
Wild. I'm not to that part yet. That Ukraine Russia is in the second half. You should see the one part. Ted goes, all right, well, could you not be so smarmy because Tucker's just wiping the floor with Ted? And Tucker goes, yeah, you're right. That's something I really got to work on. But he's so sarcastic. It's just the whole thing is just masterpiece. But
absolutely,
please go watch it, guys.
Absolutely frying this man. And you guys see how he's stumbling? He's setting himself up for traps. He's like, no, you need to apologize. But we would, and the Tucker like, what do you mean? That's something you do when you panicking, bro. I'm not being holier than now. I've been there. There've been times where and you guys can't lie. You've been there too. We all been in times where we arguing with someone, and then they bring up a point that's devastating. You like, do you say something? You say something stupid, and you're like, fuck, what I say that? That would tell you need to apologize. Tucker, like, what are you talking about, bro? That's Ted Cruz in complete panic mode. He knows he was sent on a mission by AIPAC, by the Zionist lobby, to deliver for him, and he realized that he's failing. It's pure panic, and this is the moment where he knew. Well, I'm pretty sure this happened many times in the interview, where he knew he fucked up. And the reason why it's extremely important to call Ted Cruz, and I'm gonna show 2 more clips, and then Sarah,
that's fine. You got time.
All right, cool. Because I got. So I'm gonna show these 2 clips, and Sarah, I'll pass to you if you have anything you want to add. It's 2002 all over again. the same way he said that clip.
Oh my God, good. I'm so glad you have this. Great.
Yeah, you guys know me and Sarah. We always cook. We always learn cooking. It's always fun doing these shows, right? So just like in 2002, when George W. Bush told the world that God told him to wage war in the Middle East, what did George W. Bush say? He said, you're either with us or you're against us. That was Mark Levin saying on Fox News. Either you're a patriot, you with us on this, or you're a Marxist Islamist.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, if that's the conditions you're giving me, I want to ask my Muslim brothers and sisters what direction I'm supposed to face when I pray again. Like, if that's the options I have, like, yeah, I guess Allah is my man now. Like, anyway, so they going back to that line again, and now here Ted Cruz going back to the WMD's line again. Let's repeat this, and this is the same talking point that Trump is repeating.
You need an ICBM to get to America. If Iran gets a nuclear weapon, I think the odds are unacceptably high that we would find out with a mushroom cloud over New York City or Los Angeles or Tel Aviv in Israel. And you need an IC.
That's George Bush. George Bush was the one who said when we will be like whatever he said, smoking gun turns into a mushroom cloud. Mushroom cloud. That's a nod to George Bush.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys this clip since you got some time, Sarah.
Oh, the AIPAC clip.
So this will be the last one I show on this one. I'll let you have some more, but this will be the last one we
don't
don't
have any from
I think we had a lot of fun covering this story.
This was good. I'm not done.
Didn't know we were gonna cover the whole 2 hours
again about it, but yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Sarah, I didn't make you off.
I'll probably open another space today and do the second half of it. But yeah, this.
I'm definitely gonna join. I was listening to a bit. You guys were cracking me up as I was preparing the show here.
I was screaming. I couldn't even breathe. Yeah. It was so funny.
Yeah, I was like, damn, dude, this is like, thank God we got Sarah going today. This is Ted Cruz being grilled about AIPAC by Tucker Carlson. And it does not go well. This is a 3-minute clip. So I'm gonna start here.
It's weird. We're talking about isolationists, the obsession with Israel. Why is Israel?
Oh, I don't think I'm obsessed with Israel.
Okay, but I think a lot of people are. And like the question, Israel spies on us. Well, so does every other country. Why are you mad at Israel?
I guess. Oh no. I'm hardly the one who's. I've never taken money from the Israel lobby. Have you?
Taken money from the Israel
from AIPAC?
So AIPAC raises a lot of money for me, but it's actually a misnomer because the people who raise money are individuals. Right. So it's not the PAC itself, but they're individual members who believe in the American-Israeli friendship and relationship.
Is AIPAC a foreign lobby?
No, it's an American lobby. It's the AIPAC stands for the America-Israeli Political Action Committee.
What does it lobby for?
So, to be honest, not a whole lot effectively. Listen, I came into Congress 13 years ago with the stated intention of being the leading defender of Israel in the United States Senate.
Right.
And I've worked every day to do that. AIPAC, a lot of times, AIPAC, I wish were much more effective. Like,
I stopped it there too. I was like, I started He wants more money. That's what he wants. He wants more money.
I love how we had the same mindset. That's the exact point you stopped at.
We almost like fell off the couch. I screamed in the space.
This man said he wants AIPAC to be more effective.
Yeah.
So you guys know that AIPAC was bragging about how 40 out of the 40 of the Democrat, it's way more, but I remember particularly this tweet. They sent out a tweet that said, Democrat candidates that is supported by AIPAC won 40 out of the 40 out of the races. So AIPAC is batting 1,000 during these elections. They have a sky high win percentage. They're able to get rid of people like Cori Bush, Jamal Bowman, and Ted Cruz wants more of that.
Yes. Listen to what they're telling you, people. They're telling you.
How is this not treasonous behavior at the highest order? So in the very beginning, because there's a lot to break down, there's 1 minute. That was a hard minute to get through.
Yeah, keep going. Play it all.
Yeah, I'll play it all.
Yeah.
But
it's nuts. This is in the first half of the interview. It's nuts.
Yeah, Ted Cruz said, why are you guys so obsessed with Israel? And this is the argument that Zionists always make as the last resort. I know I've been there so many times. Whenever they're getting their ass handed to them, that's why he brings it up here. Zionists never bring up this argument unless they are getting their ass handed to you. I promise to God. I've seen it so many times. Whenever at the back foot, whenever every single Zionist talking point has been dismantled, they go to, why are you guys just so obsessed over Israel? You guys are obsessed over Jews.
Yep. You're anti-Semitic. I mean, that's just one step away from it. It's why are you so obsessed? There's also around the halfway point, there's about a big chunk of time when Ted does the religious thing and it gets
Jesus Christ
wild. This explanation.
I heard about this. I haven't seen that part yet. I still haven't seen it on the NBA.
Yeah, it gets wild.
I haven't seen that part yet. But Ted Cruz acknowledges that AIPAC corrupts our society. And this is one of the 1,000 answers you can get to this critique. Why are you so obsessed with Israel? For one, it's our taxpayer money funding the state. Secondly, if you're American and you're not focused on Israel, everything else you're doing in politics is a waste of time. How the fuck is Cenk Uygur going to create Justice Democrats when they had no plan to defeat AIPAC? And then they run candidates, they lose 99% of their elections, and then they act surprised. And then when they do win, they get a Cori Bush. Them motherfuckers get replaced immediately. You know why? Because they don't have a plan for AIPAC. So every American should be as obsessed about fighting Zionism and fighting Israel as I am. Because, guys, there is no domestic politics when there's Zionism around. Because you know why? Zionists are going to bankroll corrupt politicians to serve for the rest of their life. That's why Nancy Pelosi can't lose. Dianne Feinstein can't lose. Chuck Schumer, all these people, they can't lose because the corrupt, the worst among us, the worst politicians among us are bankrolled by the Zionists. There is no domestic politics until we take out Israel. Meanwhile, Bernie Sanders and the progressives are like, oh my God, why can't we win? Let's play more of it. I'm going to try to do at least 1 minute each. At least a minute each before I stop it. There's a lot to say on this interview. I'm gonna let it play a long time before I stop it here.
They're focused on Israel in the United States Senate. Right. And I've worked every day to do that. AIPAC, a lot of times, AIPAC, I wish were much more effective. Like they're folks online who are in the fever swamp of terrified of AIPAC, and AIPAC.
I'm not terrified of AIPAC at all. You're the one who seems a little uncomfortable when I'm asking.
No, not uncomfortable at all.
I'm just asking what AIPAC does. My understanding, having known a lot of people who work at AIPAC, is that it lobbies on behalf of the Israeli government.
Wrong.
Oh, okay.
It's
when was the last time AIPAC took a position that deviated from Prime Minister Netanyahu?
All the time.
Name one.
Okay. Let me go back and give a little history. If you want to do a deep dive on AIPAC,
I don't. I want to do a shallow dive that gets. No. I want to get to the core question. AIPAC is lobbying for a foreign government, and I don't. It's not. It's lobbying for the United States.
It is lobbying for a strong U.S.-Israeli relationship.
Okay, so it's not has nothing to do with the foreign government.
It wants America and Israel to be closely allied.
Okay, but it's lobbying on behalf of the interests of another country.
So that's not true at all. And if
it's not true.
No. And
how much contact do you think AIPAC leaders have with the government of Israel?
No idea. I imagine some. I think the government of Israel is often frustrated.
Does Ted Cruz think he looked good here, being this evasive? He tried to make the argument that AIPAC doesn't lobby on behalf of Zionists on Israel. Why do you guys think they're being so evasive? Why do you think they're so evasive whenever you bring up AIPAC? They know what they're doing is wrong. They know they're corrupting society, which is why every American should be way more obsessed with AIPAC. That's why I understand, and I'll explain before, I understand the criticism. Whenever I see leftists, whenever I see anti-imperialists attack China and Russia for not doing enough to take out Zionism, it's an American problem. You can't expect China and Russia, especially China, who got Taiwan that they have to defend. You got Russia bogged down in Ukraine. You can't expect them to sacrifice a lot to take out a problem that is born from the West. AIPAC can hijack our society. What Americans going to do about it? I'll let it continue.
Mm-hmm.
Frustrated with AIPAC because AIPAC's not nearly strong enough.
Do you think there's any coordination between the government of Israel and AIPAC?
Do they talk? Sure. If you're lobbying for more U.S.-Mexico trade, would you talk to people in the U.S. and Mexico and the government? Sure. Like if.
So I'm not mad about that. There are a million countries that lobby Washington. I like a lot of those countries, including Israel.
But AIPAC are Americans. They're not Israelis.
Hold on. There are tons of Americans who lobby on behalf of foreign governments. I know them. I'm related to some of them. I know how it works. I'm from here. So my question is not, is it outrageous that foreign governments lobby the United States? They all do, okay, including Israel. My only question is, why don't we admit that is what's happening? You're denying it, but it's true.
Yeah,
and
why
aren't they registered as a foreign lobby?
Because they're not.
They're not a foreign lobby.
No, they're not. And this is that there's a fever swamp. Look,
it's not a fever swamp. These are very reasonable questions. And you've accused me of being obsessed with Israel, which I'm not.
I actually haven't. I've said
and being feverish about it, which I'm not at all. I find it's a very tender spot when you ask it, and I don't know why.
So, Tucker, all right, let's go back. I was first elected to the Senate in 2012.
That is a broken man. That's a man who knows he was embarrassed by countless millions of people. Sarah?
He actually tries to do this really interesting beta male thing. Like, oh, come on. Like, I think he thought he was going to go there and get a bunch of softballs, and then it didn't pan out. But all of that is really good, guys. I'm going to go through it. I'll probably keep talking about it in the spaces. I don't doubt that I'll cover it on Sunday because way too much of stuff is happening from day to day. But I'll cover it on Spaces. It's wild, but also quite refreshing because we know how many people watch Tucker. It already has 11 million views. That's fantastic. If Ted Cruz is sitting there not knowing why the hell we're going into Iran, that's what we need. We need 11 million people showing that our smartest, most brightest, and best Republican senator has no idea why we're going into Iran and lied through a 2-hour interview. And so it's actually a great service that what Tucker did. I mean, it also helps us who already knew to laugh and to have more content to teach people with, but it's excellent.